Saying greetings, good evening, good morning, all of the above, wherever you may be. Welcome into the Beyond Ringside Tuesday conversation. Yours truly, the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Layne, live from Studio One on this very special occasion. Thank you to everybody tuning in through BeyondRingside.com, ProWrestlingRadio.net, and all of the different sources. Don't forget the Beyond Ringside radio app for Amazon, Android, and BlackBerry products. And of course, for our friends on Apple, don't forget you can find our channel on TuneIn's mobile app. Like to welcome in some very good friends of the family, as well as a former colleague, so to speak. Ladies and gentlemen, the primal Chris Knox, and some would call him BeFit Chris Knox. Alongside of him, Beyond Ringside alumnus and multi-time women's champion for the National Wrestling Alliance and many other promotions, Tasha Simone. Folks, how y'all doing tonight?
Doing great, Eddie. How are you?
Peachy.
Peachy. Is that peach or peach schnapps?
Probably more peach schnapps right now.
Probably more Miller Lite.
Hey, that works wonders. The bar is open any time of day. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. And actually, I now live in Chilton County, so guess what? The peaches are not that far away, and I can probably make peach moonshine if I'm not careful.
Whoa!
The easy
I'll
way. Now, first off, in and around the southeastern U.S. in particular, both of you, of course, very prolific for a long time. And then at one point in time in recent history, y'all decided to hang it out, kind of hang it up for a little while. Kris, of course, you wanted to move back into the world of mixed martial arts. And first off, let me ask how that's going.
It's going. Last September, Eddie, I actually had torn my bicep a few weeks before my fight. Went fought anyway. Found out it was torn worse than I was hoping for. Had surgery, rehabbed it till around February. Started hitting the weights hard. Love lifting the heavy weights, and had an opportunity to get back in the pro wrestling ring. So right now I'm back dabbling with pro wrestling. Like I say, it always reach out there and grab you and pull you back. It's something that's bigger than life, you know.
We all have. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry, Eddie. But like I say, as far as MMA goes, I could see fighting again. But right now, I'm reaching back, trying some new things, really stepping out. I'm stepping out kind of beyond where I've ever been before. You know, but I know we'll talk about it a little later. The promotion that we've got going on, but like I say, it's, you know, rehabbing my arm, getting stronger, trying new things.
Did you think you would miss it as much as you did when you walked away from it?
No.
Hell no. That's the big double itchy hockey stick no. You know, I figured I wouldn't miss it because of some of the situations that occurred, but looking back now, I realized I didn't control the situations like I could have controlled the situations. Wrestling, you know, there's all different people in wrestling. You've been around so many pro wrestlers. The ones who kind of sometimes decide, hey, I'm going to control my situation. I'm going to make myself a better pro wrestler, whatever it takes. You know, my thing with pro wrestling right now, I'm going to meet people, learn from people, and I'm going to totally just realign myself and really retrain myself in pro wrestling to make myself better, make myself a better pro wrestler, make myself more presentable as a pro wrestler, as far as my attitude, and even the way, like I said, the way I look at the business. But to answer your question, there was no way I would have ever seen going back to professional wrestling.
And Tasha, let me bring you in on this one also, because as prolific as you were in and around the southeastern U.S., of course, NWA Main Event being one of your home promotions, we worked together on a number of different shows, and you were a flagship for the NWA for a while. And then through extraneous circumstances, which like I say, I know some of it, but not all of it. So I don't want to really. We can get into that point at a little bit later time. But I want to ask, did you think you would miss it as much as you did?
That's actually more of a loaded question for me, Eddie. I knew that I would miss it a little, but I did not miss all the BS in the locker room. But I'll be honest with you, my babies, who everybody knows, and if they don't, they're living under a rock right now, the Carneys, and Kris can tell you, would have me crying daily over, thank you, Mom, thank you for helping us, hey, look at what we're doing, we still need you here. And I finally told James Beard the other day, who is the director of talent for the NWA, for all these years that I said wrestling changed, it's not wrestling that's changed. It's the quality of the people in professional wrestling.
Thank you.
And if I'm going to complain about it, then I have a choice to do something about it.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly with the sentiment that the industry in and of itself, the monster is still the same. It's fragmented quite a bit from what it was 10 years ago, 5 years ago. Yeah. But it's it's the people in the locker room, and a lot of the times the locker room's not policed like it should be. And that's something, we would discuss that on the To Be Determined show that was right here on the Beyond Ringside Radio Network, as well as Beyond Ringside Live. But
that is very true. But this is what's become unfortunate. There's a difference between a worker and a liar. And I mean, I hate to put it out like that. There's a huge difference between a worker and a liar. If Kris walks into a locker room and says, hey, I'm transitioning back from cage fighting to the locker room, he means it. But I have discovered in the last 3 years, everybody in professional wrestling is an MMA fighter or a bouncer or both.
Yeah.
They're the toughest guys in the world.
Toughest guys and girls.
The craziest thing, Eddie, and this is what I miss about MMA. And I can tell you this, I'm sure I will be back in a cage one day. It's a rush. It is an adrenaline rush when they close that cage door. But the locker rooms that I were in, that I was fortunate enough to be in, every guy back there was so much mutual respect. And it didn't matter. The way the locker room was set up, we had a red locker room and a blue locker room.
Right.
When I went in my blue locker room on a Saturday night getting ready to fight,
it was Team Blue.
It was Team Blue.
Right.
If I was in my red locker room, it was Team Red. But you know what? We had mutual respect. I have the last guy I fought, and unfortunately he doesn't fight anymore because I would love to have an opportunity to fight him again. And he told me we would make it happen, but unfortunately, he retired from fighting. We had 3 hard-fought rounds. He had trouble coming out of the corner. I had my torn bicep, and he ended up, the decision went to him. But he told me at that point in his life, he said, "You are the toughest man that I've ever fought." And you know what?
He told the whole crowd that.
I could look right back at him and tell him the same thing. That's mutual respect. He didn't walk out of that place. And then, like I said, he's on my Facebook now. He's one of my Facebook friends. He didn't walk out of that place and then hit up on Facebook and say, oh, I'm going to whoop Knox's ass. He told me, thank you, brother, for the fight. It was about, and it's still about, in pro wrestling, MMA, it's about the fans. The fans were on their feet that night. That's where I've done some shows here recently as far as pro wrestling, and I just want to take people's cell phones and break them. But you know what? It's not my job to do that. It's my job to get their eyes on me. No matter what I tell them, it's my job to make them want to come back to the show. There's so many of these guys these days, so many of these kids these days. And I say kid, I hadn't been around the wrestling business many years. But you know what? I am older than they are. I mean, I'm pushing the next big decade in my life, I guess. But, you look at some of these kids, yeah, they may be trained to wrestle. But if you can't
draw that crowd in, if you can't satisfy the crowd, if you can't make them feel like part of a show, that's where you need to reevaluate your skills.
Right.
Like I say, that's what I'm trying to do now. I'm putting myself, I want to align myself with veterans like Tasha. Somebody I talked to the other day, one of the greatest guys, Frankie Ciazzo.
Yeah.
Stormy Lee. You know, and a great match I had not too long back. Chase Stevens.
Which I have not sent you yet, and I have to send you. It was match of the night.
You know, I've learned sometimes, and I think even some of the midway vets, and you know, hey, are you a vet at 5 years? Are you a vet at 10 years? Are you a vet at 16 years? Are you a vet at 20 years? You know what? Some guys that have 12, 15, 16 years in the business, you know what? If they would stop and look at some of these other guys, their peers, their brothers, their sisters, they would look at them and go, hey, really, how did my match look tonight? And I don't know if this is an adult show, but don't BS me about it. I want to know what I can do to make myself better. People have gotten to the point in pro wrestling where they go, oh, I'm so-and-so, and I've been wrestling for so-and-so years. Yeah, you are. But you know what? Maybe if you feel like your match is a little off, maybe you should go ask somebody else, well, what did I do? A mutual respect. Like I say, I want to line myself up with these people. I want to learn how I can be a better performer to where I can make somebody put that cell phone down and look at me, where they're going to buy a ticket. You know, I don't want to have to give somebody a ticket and say, here, come see me. Because I can give out 5 tickets to pro wrestling, and you know what? Maybe 2 people will come. If you have everybody do their job that night, and it's not pop the boys in the back, it's pop that crowd.
Right.
If they pop that crowd and they bring them in there, there's going to be 5 people. And, you know, I'm not very good at math, but if you sell 5 tickets at $10 a piece, that's $50.
Right.
You know what? If I bring 10 people in, 10 people at $10 is $100.
Right.
You know what? I've been told by several different folks, that's the way you used to make your pay.
Right.
Your PO back in the day. It's not. You know, and you got to go through a transition period. When you first learn to start wrestling, you got to go through a transition period. Same way with MMA. You got to go through a transition period. You got to start as an AMI fighter before you turn pro. And it's growing pains. You're going to have your growing pains. But you know what I think it's a pro fighter. I know when I'm going to become a pro fighter, Eddie, when I've won so many fights.
Right.
And people start following me, and I start putting butts in the seats. Should be the same way as a wrestler. If I'm putting butts in the seats, then I can call myself a veteran. Then I can get a better PO. Just like a fighter, I can get a better PO when I'm pro.
Right.
And I get on my soapbox about that, but
that's okay, because after that long answer from both of us, Eddie, yes, we missed it enough. But before we talk about, I'm going to drop a bombshell on you now.
Yes.
Okay? Because this is how much we collectively miss professional wrestling. For us to say they're doing this wrong, or maybe there's a better way to do it, or for either one of us to say maybe the quality of wrestlers in the ring isn't right, I had to go back to my training. I actually discussed this privately with one of my trainers because, of course, Kris isn't here for me to talk to.
Right.
Kris Adams, just to make sure I clarify that to people who may not know. In the next several weeks, Kris and I will be setting up, and you can feel free to advertise this, we will be setting our own wrestling school up.
Very nice.
We will not be training people to be like every child passes in school. we will be training people to quit. So anybody that comes and signs up for our wrestling school needs to understand that they will not only be well-versed in professional wrestling, but Kris is also going to be offering a place to learn MMA, to train if you are already trained as an MMA fighter. If you don't have a place to roll, you'll be welcome to come and work out in our ring as well. Of course, there's always a mat fee that's basic anywhere. But I'm going to go back to the basics. We're going to do something new that's really old. We're going to train old school wrestlers. And if people don't know what hook and shoot is, when they start seeing our students, they might want to learn.
Well, I'm going to lay this one out there, and let me go ahead and cut off because you actually made a comment, I believe it was off air, about two good friends of the family, two gentlemen that I got to know through you as well as work with on numerous occasions. These guys have been gold magnets over the last couple of years in particular, finally starting to get the recognition they deserve. They were put over, they won. You can use some terms. We're all adults around here. They were the first ever AWE Georgia Tag Team Crown Champions. I'm referring to the Down South Dandy Nick Iggy and the Music City Mutt Carrie Awful, the team that was formerly known as Team IOU that is now very prolific as the Carnies. These guys give you all the credit in the world as it pertains to them understanding the word professional in professional wrestling.
The crazy thing is, Eddie,
yes,
and Kris is sitting right here to tell you, and I tell those boys every day that I talk to them, I take no credit for them. I gave them tools. Just like raising my kids, I give them tools that will make them productive. What they choose to do with them is out of my control once they're out of my sight. What makes me proud is not only do they use them properly, but when they text me and say, Mom, I'm not just getting good at wrestling, and they always say getting good, but you help me be a better human being too. That's what makes me feel good.
Well, like I said,
training is, as much as I love being in the ring, training is my niche. I love taking young people and making them better.
Did a great job with both of them, I'll say that. And like I said, we've had I've interviewed both of them on a number of different occasions, especially on the day that they won the tag team championships from AWE the first time. And they maintain for characters the characters that they are. And I will say this very clearly, for those who have seen the Carnies in person, behind the scenes, they're the same guys. What you see,
they really are. And this is what's awesome. I'm going to brag about them a little. I'm going to brag about Kris too, because Kris is too humble to brag about himself.
I know.
People, and I'm being serious about that. Kris is truly too humble to brag about his skills. Do you know both of those guys want to set a weekend as soon as we get everything up and running? They want to take a weekend off of their bookings and come down here and spend the weekend with us rolling with Kris and going over matches and training, because that makes them better. That's what guys don't get anymore. When you think that you have nothing left to learn, that's when you need to quit.
Amen. No, pro wrestling
is... They know that they can learn so much from Kris.
But I can learn so much from them in turn, because they've been around. And that's the folks I want to align myself with, Eddie. Folks that have been around, folks that understand, yeah, I've done a little bit of MMA. And yes, I want to train some MMA. I love it. I love the wrestling, though. I love grabbing that crowd by their collars and dragging them in, not literally, by the way, but figuratively, dragging them in to the match and shaking them and going, look at this match. and then be sitting on the edge of their seat. Eddie, I sit there and I get on YouTube every now and again, and I watch some of the older guys back in the day when they wouldn't touch the ropes. They were just the center of the ring, just going at it. They didn't hit moves, these big moves, these high spots. They didn't hit them. And I get so drawn in, and it's just like, bam, the match is over, and it's like, I want more.
He was like a little kid when I turned him on to a Best of Mid-South DVD collection.
Nice.
And it was so awesome, but like I said, that goes back to, and the reason that we originally called in fits right into this. We have decided that there is a different niche, and as much as it's going to be new for a lot of people, it's really very old, and I think it's time, and Kris thinks it's time, and now Kris is starting to learn to wear a new hat in professional wrestling. He's not just the guy who puts on tights anymore. He's having to learn to contact people. As this goes, I'm going to kind of be a butt right now. You hear all and see and read on Facebook about all of these people telling wrestlers, it's up to you to promote my card. No, it's not. If we're the promoters, it's our job to promote the card. It's our wrestlers' job to get in the ring and bust their ass and make sure that crowd gets every single penny that they paid for to be there.
Exactly.
But it's our job to promote and make sure that crowd is there. So Kris has put on a hat as a promoter. We went all the way down to Panama City Beach this past weekend promoting this card that we'll be talking about later, because Kris is learning to wear a different hat in professional wrestling. I didn't do the talking. He did. And he's learning he has that gift of gab to be able to do it. And he's learning for what everybody says is so difficult. It may be a little legwork, but if you're not afraid to talk to people, it's not really that hard either.
No. It's doing it that first time that is absolutely the the scorcher.
No, absolutely. I promise you, Eddie, I've been so stressed. You can ask Tasha. I've been so stressed. I'm like, hey, this is bigger than anything I can handle. She's like, no. And she's like, it's no bigger than anything else. And I have come to find out, just being down in Panama City last week, we literally had sponsors giving us shirts, giving us beer koozies, giving us banners. They wanted to give us banners to put on the side of the ring, giving it to us. And I'm learning from Tasha about the way that the business is supposed to be set up. As far as, this is one of my biggest issues with the business right now also, Eddie. And I want my guys, my girls, when they come work for me, I want them to be paid properly. I want them to be taken care of. I think the business has kind of gotten away from all that. Like I was telling you a while ago, when you put 10 butts in the seat at $10 a piece, you know what? If it's a business opportunity, maybe you should get half that money. All right, let's see if you can put 20 butts in the seat. Then you're going to get half that money. You know what? That's where the business is lacking, because it's been pointed out on Facebook too that most guys don't make a whole lot of money.
No, they literally said if your guys get paid $20, it's because they're not promoting your show.
Well,
which is unprofessional.
But you know what? I want to be able to set up something. I want to talk to restaurant owners and say, hey, look, we want to come do this show or this show, and I want my guys paid this much. And you know what? Let's throw a free meal in there, because we're going to bring people to you. We're going to be trained not only in wrestling, but professional wrestling, entertainment. we're going to be trained. There's not going to be a guy or girl that's not going to be able to at least somewhat speak on a microphone, somewhat cut a promo. That's in MMA also. And I can tell you a story about my second fight last year. I won. I won with an armbar. I'm running around the ring like I'm crazy. I'm running around and almost broke my ankle in the cage, as a matter of fact, because I tripped over my own feet. That just shows how graceful I am. But the MC, she actually stopped me and said, "You got to talk on this microphone right now." I was so fired up. I probably cut the best promo I've ever cut in my life. Standing there under a spotlight in an MMA cage after I almost broke a kid's arm. It was great feeling, best feeling in the world. But that's the whole thing. I want the guys and girls that come out and do a good job, that sit there and can bring the crowd off the edge of seats. I want them to be there making the amount of money. Because you know what? If they're bringing butts and putting them in my seats, guess who else is making money, Eddie? You know, sometimes, you know, there's a lot of people that have passion for wrestling. I have a passion for wrestling. I have a passion for MMA. But you know what? My passion for wrestling also stems back to I want to entertain the crowd. But, you know, when it boils down to it, I do need a little gas money.
Oh, God, yes.
And for BeFit, I need a little beer money also.
Okay, therein lies the funny part, because I'm going to transition to that. I made the introduction, and I did say BeFit earlier, and a lot of people are seeing a slightly different side of Chris Knox in this particular regard due to the fact that you have been billing yourself lately as BeFit.
Well, that's mainly at an adult show or maybe a bar show or something like that. I try to tone it down a little for the youngins running around, for the kids. I try to tone it down for them. But, you know, like I say, on this latest poster that you'll see where I am billed as BeFit, you know, I've got a little weight belt that has, you know, it holds my 12-pack. You know, I'd walk out with a 12-pack instead of a 6-pack. It's one of those things.
Right.
Best body beer can buy.
There you go. I was waiting on that. I was waiting on that.
That's right.
Now, before we segue and make that transition, I'm going to ask the question that's become the staple for yours truly. And in a slightly different turn, Tasha, I'm going to go to you first on this one, because this is the question that you never were asked on the shows. As an interviewee, or as a co-host. But you have heard me ask it once in the time that you were on here. So I turn this one to you. Whether it be pre-championship, going back to training, whether it be right now transitioning back into the ring, we talk about lessons learned.
Mm-hmm.
And Kris, this question will be asked of you second.
All right.
Tasha,
Yes.
straight shoot. What is the one lesson in particular that pro wrestling has taught you about yourself?
The one lesson?
Yep.
That there's no such thing as being too big of a bitch when it comes to protecting yourself, because the last person that's ever going to have your back is you, and the only person that's ever going to have your back is you.
And no, Kris, you may not duplicate her answer.
Well, I was going to, but it was so good. I mean, really, it was so good. You know, I sat there, and I guess the lessons that I've learned from pro wrestling, you just pro wrestling, correct? Or you want me to throw MMA in that?
Mainly pro wrestling.
Okay, just pro wrestling. The lesson that I have learned from pro wrestling would have to be that no matter how you're treated, through pro wrestling, no matter how. Well, it's almost duplicating her answer. I mean, I started pro wrestling, and I was the little kid that sat there and didn't say anything and would kind of sit back and let everything go the way it was supposed to. I learned when you started growing a set and speaking up for yourself, people don't like it. But there comes a time when you know you're right, and you just got to stand up for it. And you know, as much as they push against you, you just push back.
Right.
And they're eventually going to give up because they know they're in the wrong. So, you know, just have a set of balls about yourself. Speak up for yourself. You know, there's a time and place to back off, but don't take people to issue, because there's so many pro wrestlers that's going to hand you a bowl full of issue. I mean, you know, that's it. I mean, she used a little different word, but yeah, you just stand up for yourself, because the first go around, I didn't stand up for myself. I learned in the cage, and this is something I tell her every day. You know, and so many people, if they would look at it like this, they'd be like, well, damn. But, you know, what the hell is that guy that's telling me this? What's he going to do to me? Worst he can do is knock me out. I've been hit that hard in the cage. I've been knocked out. I'm not scared to get knocked out. There's so many people that are. Well, actually, I've never been knocked out in the cage because I got the dirty look. But what's the worst that's going to happen to me, Eddie? I just got to stand up for myself and have a set of balls. You know, if I was female, I would use her word, you know, but, you know, I probably wouldn't be good me saying, well, I got to be the bitch, you know. But, you know, that's a lesson I've learned. You know, stand behind what you believe in.
If I say the words July 22nd, what does that mean to you?
July 22nd means that everybody who comes to Jack, Alabama is going to have one hell of a time.
Now, for those who do
July
not...
22nd is the first ever, for me, the first ever wrestling card I have put together. And I'll go ahead and tell you, I'm nervous as hell. Tasha's chill. Tasha's like, hey, hell, you got this. But, Eddie, I'm nervous. I'm really nervous. But July 22nd, we put together a card. It's actually going to be an adult show at a bike rally of all places. But I'm telling you, this card would be a big card anywhere. We need to take this card, and we need to bring it right here to Oxford, Alabama. We could run it Panama City Beach, Florida. We could put this card on the beach, and all these guys and girls, oh my gosh, we could, you know, we'd have such a big crowd. I really believe that in my heart. And like I say, nervous as all get out because never done this before, but I really truly believe this card is going to draw. This card is, like I say, it's at a bike rally, so it's adult oriented. You know, there's going to be a few people drinking beer, mainly me. But
and you do have to be 21 to get in.
You have to be 21 to get in. It is in, like I said earlier, Jack, Alabama. It's about 30 minutes south of Troy.
Okay.
Pretty good little ride. It's a great ride on a motorcycle. If you're out for a Saturday evening ride, it's a great ride in a truck or car.
Now, if
or minivan. Load everybody up and bring everybody.
Do me a favor.
But
if my notes are right, is the address 1697 County Road 207, Jack, Alabama is the city?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Jack, Alabama. And like I say, it's about 30 minutes south of Troy. You can come stay all weekend if you'd like. Like I say, if you got a van, load up everybody, come on down. They're going to have they'll have food trucks set up. They'll have they got showers down there. They got bands. So it's going to be beer, bands, bikes, and the Backwoods Brawl. That's what we're calling this card. It's the Backwoods Brawl. It's $20 at the gate on Saturday. If you want to stay with us all weekend, it's going to be $30.
Right.
But we're, like I say, this card, Eddie, you got it in front of you. It's stacked. I mean, you got guys. The first match of the night. You got guys. Logan Creed. Oh my gosh, he's a beast. 6'10", 315 pounds. Trained by Simon Sermon and Tommy Too Much.
Right.
The kid. Now you may not believe this. I mean, like we just discussed, he's a small fella. He actually played a little bit of college football at Georgia Southern, and he wrestled East Georgia College. His fiance they are married. Fiance. She's also going to be there. She's in the second match. Logan is actually going to wrestle a guy who's been wrestling a lot out on the West Coast, wrestling in Vegas and California. He's been wrestling a few years, and he's a big kid too. What's funny is I'm actually like the smallest guy here, because this guy Devin Dixon, he's a beast. He's 6'2", 220 pounds. Trained by the Nightmare Ken Wayne, and like I said, he's been working the West Coast a lot. He's trying to make his way back towards Memphis and everything, and that's going to be a hell of a match. Two big guys colliding right there. Like I say, y'all know yourself how Logan, he's got I think the GCW belt right now.
GCW championship, one half of the Peach State Tag Team Championships. Former one half of the Peach State Tag titles. They lost those back at the anniversary show, the Survivor Games. I apologize for that. And yeah, I believe he's also the NWA Georgia champion, right?
NWA Georgia, yes sir, sure is. That's the opening match. I mean, like I say, the second match of the night, we got Brooklyn Creed. You know, Brooklyn Creed, she's trained. She's from Georgia. She's trained by Crew Jones and Tyson Dean, and you've seen her. I mean, you know how good she is. You've seen her at GCW.
She got a bone to chew on in that one, though.
Oh, yes, she does. Oh, my goodness. I don't know how many of you, how well do you know Kathy the Butcher?
Do not know her that well.
Do not know Kathy. Okay. Well, now, Kathy is, she's kind of mean and nasty. She was
ain't no lady.
She was runner-up in Queen of the Deathmatch.
For the IWA.
Nice.
She was, so she's a little dirty. She was
trained by the late Gypsy Joe.
Nice.
If that tells you anything.
That tells me a hell of a lot right there. I want to see this person in action.
But let me just say this, because Kathy is owner of Classy Bras Wrestling. I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there because I know how she is. Kathy's got a bone to pick with me because a few years back, I knocked her big 220-pound butt out with a headbutt.
Well, you do have hard head.
She is not my opponent, but if she sticks her head in my way, I can't say she won't be knocked out by something besides moonshine.
Well, I said it once, but I'm going to paraphrase it, then I'm going to come back and save my ass on the rephrase. Well, Tasha, you do give hard head. You do have a hard head.
Not an adult show yet, Eddie.
Why do you think I didn't say anything? I didn't cuss.
All I heard him say was that you're very hard-headed.
Yes, that is true.
I thought he said you were hard-headed.
Hashtag hell damn ass. When's the last time you heard that one? Moving up onto the lineup for July 22nd, you're going to have another ladies match. Fantasy.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead.
Our next ladies match it's going to be the third match of the night. It's going to be Katie Oh No, or maybe it's Oh No. She's a barefoot wrestler. Kind of interesting. She was trained by Barefoot Badass Matt Gilbert.
Huh.
Out of Atlanta, Georgia.
A little bit of a martial artist.
Yes.
So I've heard.
Got some kicks. got some kicks. She's liable to put the left foot and put it across the right side of your face.
But she's not Billy Jack.
I don't know. That's pretty badass.
But
to walk
the
up and-
cool thing is, I'm gonna brag about the girl she's wrestling a little bit.
Yes.
The young lady she's wrestling, also trained by a Nightmare, but a really special Nightmare. And Eddie, you and I talked about her, and you and Kris talked about her a little bit off the air. Miss Fantasy, who was trained by Nightmare Ted Allen,
Yep.
who is just as cute as a bug, but I happen to know how dangerous and quick her moonsault can hit and pin somebody, is stepping in the ring with Katie. Oh no. So this is gonna be one I'm gonna be watching. And if I watch somebody's match, it better be good, or I'll hit the ring.
Now, a match.
I'm interested in that one too. That's gonna be a great one.
Yeah, that sounds like it's good. Knowing Fantasy the way I do, that should be a solid match. And like I said, I'm not well versed on Katie Ono, but I have a feeling this one's going to be a solid match all the way across the board. But let me go ahead and lay this one out there. In the semi-main, this is a match that could actually be top bill almost anywhere around the southeastern U.S., in particular because of the history that's in place.
Yes.
He is the first class, second generation.
Third.
No. First class, second to none. Third generation professional wrestling superstar, the Dream Killer Eric Wayne. It's been a while since I've done his intro, so I had to call that one back up. And if he listens to this and hears that, he's gonna go, I knew he'd screwed up eventually, but that's something I never did when I introed him. I never messed it up live. I always mess it up in the taping. But meanwhile, back at the ranch, Eric Wayne going one-on-one, Kris, with you.
Oh my, that's news to me.
Oh, okay.
What did you do that for? No, I'm just,
You know what? We ought to let Eddie tell everybody about Kris Knox.
well, I was going to talk about Eric Wayne first, because there is probably, and I'm just throwing this out there, I've always wanted to be tased. And I decided that it may not be such a good idea for me to get tased. So there may allegedly in that match, I may have come up with a new finisher. You know, I'm coming out. I've got my beer belt on, and he's going to be okay as long as he doesn't touch my cans.
Right.
You know, in my belt. But you know, I just, you know, I come up with a new finisher, and I'm not going to say it'll happen, but somebody might get dick tased in that one. Oh, but it is an adult show.
Oh no, not Katie.
No.
Not Katie.
Folks, please.
And I have to throw a cheap, shameless plug in there right now. The koozies on the beer belts were donated by Miss Newbies, Panama City Beach. So if you get down there, make sure you get some Hunch Punch and a beer, and tell our girl Carla we said hello.
There you
Not
go.
too much punch punch though. It's
Not too much. It'll still be biting your butt on Monday.
Yes. But Eric Wayne, smart ass little kid. I may have to cut his hair or dictate him or something like that. I haven't decided yet. Yeah, we'll see how that rolls. See how that happens.
There was rumor of a beer drinking challenge from Eric Wayne.
He's a pansy.
But I don't see him challenging Knox to a beer drinking competition.
No, I've drank with Knox before.
I only drank a few
Cases.
Hey,
Ying, 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 ying.
But that one is going to be that'd be an interesting match. Like I say, I'm really looking forward to getting in the ring and getting an opportunity with a third generation wrestler who's been around it forever. Still going to whoop his ass, but hey, you know, looking forward to it.
And in the main event, the return, so to speak, I say it like that because I have just been versed on a previous match. But I will sit back and say this. 1-on-1 inside that ring, Jack, Alabama, Saturday, July 22nd. Tasha Simone, 1-on-1 with Kylie Ray. And by the way, before you get started on this one, I'm just going to sit back and say, Tasha, just go ahead and smile now, because if you know the poster, I'm going to sit back and say, as far as Ms. Ray goes, I would like to peek at her Pikachu.
Knox already asked for pictures.
You remember how I said nothing's really original, Eddie?
Yeah.
Yeah. I come up with that one.
I wasn't around. Or I wouldn't have said it. I would have come up with a better line. It's like, damn, Pikachu's got big eyes.
Well, let me say this about Kylie Ray. She has apparently got a very big set, but I also know who trained her. Of course, when I met him in Dallas, Texas, he was part of the Ebony Experience with his brother, Stevie Ray.
Yep.
This young lady, and I give her props, she wanted to be a professional wrestler enough. She moved her butt from Chicago to Houston, Texas to train with WWE Hall of Famer, formerly known as the Ebony Experience, formerly known as Harlem Heat, the Big Brother, Booker T.
There you go.
She was actually on his reality for wrestling program,
right,
and has even been his ladies champion on two different occasions. I was actually contacted by another wrestler on the card and said, "Can you get Knox to bring this girl in? She wants to wrestle Tasha Simone." I gave the information to Knox. He did the one-on-one. He did the money. He said, "Hey, let's do it." So there you go.
Now, and this is where I'm going to be evil, because I do know Kylie Ray. I have followed her out in Lone Star State and various other places as well. I'm going to sit back and say, Tasha, for as much as I would like to say that this is not going to be a cakewalk for Ms. Ray, I have to tell you that this is not going to be a cakewalk for you. I think this is going to be one hell of a match.
Well, Eddie, I'm gonna be devil's advocate now, like one of our very close friends who will remain unnamed. This is something that Kylie Ray didn't know when she said, "I want to wrestle Tasha." This is something that nobody knows. While Chris Knox was doing all of his MMA fights, I was going through every fight camp with him. So all I got to say is bring it, because as much of a brawler as I am, I add a special kind of brutality to my technical, and Chris has made me that much meaner.
I've watched you tie women up in knots before, and I don't mean using a damn rope. I'm talking about using holds. So
yeah, but that was just Jeff Hardy. Pandora. Anyway,
foul.
I'm sorry I got off the subject from it. Tourette's syndrome.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Green Canyon. Anyway, what I'm saying is the teacher became the student, and for as much as people don't get how intelligent BeFit, BeFit, or just the primal Knox may be, he is a pretty badass teacher, and I'm not afraid to learn. So let me just say this. If people want to see that match, they need to bring their tails to Jack, Alabama, because I promise you, as Jim Ross would say, it's going to be a barn burner, a slobber knocker, a Donnybrook, and any other words you want to throw out there.
Let's just go in.
Because at the end of the night, we're going to have some badass people kicking ass in front of some kick-ass bikers who are pretty cool to hang out with, too. And there's going to be a lot of partying going on. You can come on a bike or you can come in a cage, but this is going to be the place to be on July 22nd.
And somebody's going to get spanked.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead.
Oh, yes. Well, you called that the main event just a few minutes ago. Yes, that may. Well, actually, I just got bumped. I'll go ahead and tell you, I got bumped off the card.
Do me a favor, Chris. Hold on. Do me a favor before we go.
May, Eddie,
Chris,
what we're going to do, and we really don't know who's going to be in it, but there's going to be a paddle on a pole match. It could be every wrestler on this card. But, Eddie, somebody is going to get spanked. Whoever gets to that paddle, they are going to have a good time tonight. They are going to have a good time July 22nd. They're going to have a good time getting their backside paddle. They're going to have a good time. But the main event, really, Eddie, is going to be, we're going to hang the paddle up.
There's going to be some clovering going on.
Oh. Yes, the main event, paddle on the pole match, and hashtag everybody dives.
.. Once again, that's going to be Saturday, July the 22nd in Jack, Alabama. Please remember, as you have heard us say on more than one occasion, I'm going to reiterate this. This is not an all-ages live event. This is 21 and up only as part of the Backwoods Thunder Rally, the Backwoods Brawl, presented by Chrome Independent Wrestling and Classy Broads Wrestling. Remember, you can get a weekend pass for the entire rally, or at the gate, tickets are $20 for the day, and the show will be that night. No cameras. Don't even try it. If they want it filmed, they'll film it.
That is true. And there's also going to be a wet T-shirt contest after the Backwoods Brawl, Eddie.
Yes, and once again, need I remind everybody, this is a 21 and up show as a part of the bike rally. So understand that concept and keep that in full swing. But if you are in or around Dothan, Troy, Panama City, Destin, Fort Walton, coming on back over this way, Tallahassee, Lake City, doesn't matter, come on over this way. Doesn't matter if you're all the way down in South Georgia, come on over this way. Easy to get to, easy to find, and absolutely going to be a great time. Saturday night, July 22 in Jack, Alabama at the Backwoods Thunder Rally, the Backwoods Brawl. It's going to be a lot of fun, I guarantee it. Do me a favor, before we run for the night, let me go ahead and go and do this. I say night, but it just depends on what time you're listening. Tasha, social media contacts.
As always, now I'm on Facebook right now as Elizabeth Allstead. I don't mind people knowing that. I actually had a really amazing fan, Mike Holmes, who is one of my biggest fans in the whole wide world, start a group for me. It's Always Bet on Red, the official Tasha Simone fan page.
Cool.
But I'm also going to throw Knox's out too.
Knoxification.
Only because he'll probably get a little tickled when he's telling you it's the Knoxification, the official Chris Knox fan page as well. Make sure, everybody, that you check those out. We're posting videos. We're posting pictures. On Chris, as you're actually going to see some of his MMA fights as well. So you can see he's not just one of those wrestlers saying he's an MMA fighter. He really stepped in the cage. He really had to cut his toenails. He really had to cut his fingernails. And he really made somebody tap out to an arm bar because he was going to break his arm if he didn't.
Yep.
And that's a place to get to know us, and that's a place to give us some feedback and tell us where you'd like to see us as well.
Definitely.
You can also find me on Twitter, Tasha F. and Simone. I'm also on Instagram as Tasha F. and Simone. Do remember, when you get on Instagram, I won't put anything kids can't see, but you still may want to look at it before you let your little ones read or see any of the posts, because I can't guarantee anybody commenting on it will be PG.
Very true. We can only attest for ourselves, not for what everybody else might do.
I'm on Twitter at
Kris
BeFit
Knox. That's Chris with a K, Pete.
K.
And you have underscores, Chris_BeFit_ Knox.
And once again, that's KRIS.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I just wanted to remind everybody, in case they've never been on your Twitter feed before. So, from that vantage point, folks, mark your calendar, make your plans. It's going to be a crazy time around the Radio Ranch as well as down in Jack, Alabama. You never know. Like I said, we've threatened to actually make an appearance down there on the 22nd because my calendar's clear. But if I do, well, don't watch my Snapchat because you may blush.
What was that Snapchat again, Eddie?
Oh, mine is at Fast Eddie Layne. It's branding, dear. You know where to find me. Fast Eddie Layne all the way across the board. Layne. But
everybody make sure July 22nd, I will be sending out posts if Fast Eddie is there. We're going to hook him up with some of our buddies. Soup Can, Rockin' Ange. I promise you, he will be feeling no pain, and he'll be Snapchatting like crazy.
There you go. Folks, at Beyond Ringside on Twitter, Facebook.com/Beyond Ringside Live. And, of course, the homes are BeyondRingside.com and ProWrestlingRadio.net. And once again, of course, for me personally, Fast Eddie Layne, LAYNE.com is the easy way to find me. Kris, Tasha, always a pleasure. Thank you for hanging out tonight. Hope you had a good time. And I want to wish you all the very best, not only for the 22nd, but in all the future endeavors you got coming up.
Thank you so much, Eddie.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate that.
Folks, we're going to call it here at the Radio Ranch. Keep your eyes open on BeyondRingside.com for all upcoming show information. And, of course, don't forget you can find replays available through the stations as well as through Podomatic, Spreaker, Stitcher, so many different ways, including the Shows tab on iHeartRadio, as well as, of course, through iTunes and Archive.org. Until next time, for Kris Knox and Tasha Simone, I am the Magic City Motor Mouth Fast Eddie Layne saying thank you for joining us for the Tuesday conversation. Bye for now.